Hello there, my name is JeJe Noval, registered dietitian nutritionist and faculty member at Loma Linda University School of Allied Health Professions. Welcome to another episode of Chat and Chew, and today our topic is on fats, and I'll tell you what the title of our episode is a little later. But before we begin, I would like to introduce to you four wonderful graduate students at Loma Linda University. So to my farthest right, we have Sarah Piconis. Sarah, where are you from?
I am originally from Marietta, California.
Okay, where exactly is that?
That is basically in the Temecula area. If you're not familiar with that, it's on the way to San Diego.
There you go. So it is a little drive.
Yes, it's about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So, Sarah, why did you choose Loma Linda University to go to school?
Well, I chose Loma Linda because not only the education is excellent, but incorporating your spiritual side is very important to me.
Yes.
And incorporating that into your profession is a big deal. And also just because it's close to home too, not too far away.
That's a plus. Excellent. Okay, good. Thank you. And next to her we have Letty Ann Cordero. Letty Ann, where do you hail from?
The wonderful Loma Linda.
Ooh, so very far away. I think the farthest.
The farthest.
All right. So what are your short-term goals? You are already a registered dietitian nutritionist.
Correct.
So right after school, after you graduate in June, what are your plans?
My plans right after graduation is to go ahead and work in a hospital and help those patients in need. And of course, on the side, go ahead and give some basic nutrition classes for the general public.
There you go. Keep her in mind, everybody. All right, thank you so much. And next we have Evelyn Gonzales. Hi, Evelyn. So where are you from?
So I'm from La Habra, California. It's a city that borders LA and Orange County.
Oh, okay. So that's also quite a drive.
Yeah, about an hour 45 with traffic.
Man, our students are so dedicated. They come from all different parts. No matter how far, they do their best to come here. So, Evelyn, you have a nice, unique story in which you come from a family business. Can you tell us about that and where you are headed within the family business itself?
Of course. So I work for Northgate Markets, and it was founded by my grandfather. And I currently work for the Employee Wellness Program to kind of promote health and wellness with the employees.
Nice.
But when I become a registered dietitian, I really want to be a grocery store dietitian and kind of extend that to customers and the community.
It's very rare to have dietitians at grocery stores, so you're going to really create a very wonderful niche right there. So great, thank you. And last but not least, we have Molly Camarena. Hi,
Hello.
Molly.
How are you?
Good, how are you
Good,
doing?
thank you.
Great, where do you come from?
I am originally from Laverne, California, so a little bit closer to Los Angeles, but not too far.
All right, very good. So once you have RDN by your name, Registered Dietitian Nutritionist, what is your long-term goal? Let's say 5 years, 10 years.
Great question. So for me, long term, I can definitely see myself working in a wellness center type of thing,
Yes.
working in family nutrition, teaching cooking classes to all ages, especially kids, and just educating the general public in a very hands-on manner.
Hands-on is key.
Yes.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
you for all that you've shared. So today, the title of our episode is, I'm not going to get it wrong, Fats Are Friends, Not Foes. Oh my goodness. All right. So ladies, why fats? What's the truth about fats?
So we chose fats to talk about today really because when it comes to the topic of fats, we're always surrounded by these ideas that it's something to be feared, something to be avoided, and quite frankly, you're faced with a diet that's boring and tasteless. But you know what? There are fats that are wonderful for our body, that are completely beneficial and are very delicious. So today we're gonna flip that script and we're gonna go ahead and make it a little bit more fun and more open to the idea that some fats are just awesome to have and are very delicious too.
Yeah, I love it. Great. And so then, what do you mean by good fats? Are there some good fats?
Yeah, so I would love to add on to what Letty Ann was saying, and you know, a lot of fats are made to look bad and we shouldn't put them into our diet. However, there are a lot of benefits about fat that we don't always think about.
True.
So, you know, fat is for everybody. There are, it's good for pregnant women, it's good for students, it's good for those with just mental fatigue or stress from work. So fat is for everyone and it's totally okay to eat. And if you take a look at the latest dietary guidelines for Americans, it actually shows that we should be eating about 25 to 30% of fat in our diet.
Did you all hear that? 25 to 30%.
Yes.
That's not a little bit.
No,
that's a good amount.
That's a good chunk there. So we do, if you're following a 2,000 calorie diet, that actually means that you're getting about 400 to 700 of your daily calories from fat.
See, that's significant. That's not just a little bit.
Right, absolutely. And I think that people tend to forget about that. So it's good. It's good to think about that. So there are 3 major types of fat.
Okay.
Saturated, trans fat, and unsaturated. So unsaturated is the most beneficial for us. That's what we want to focus on today. That's something that we do want to think about adding more into our diet and maybe using that in place of the more saturated and trans fats.
So we're going to be giving you a bunch of recipes and reasons why to incorporate that unsaturated fat. But to acknowledge those saturated and trans fat that a lot of us have heard of before, and I'm sure you viewers have probably started looking at nutrition labels, trying to just get an idea of what you should be eating. So if you're worried about the things we want less of, just look at the nutrition label and make sure that beside saturated fat and trans fat is less than 10%. If it's less than 10%, you're good to go, and we'll try to just add some balance by incorporating these types of fats.
Very good. That is excellent. And you know, the general public, they already know a lot about the connection between fats and cardiovascular disease. But I know it goes beyond that. So what are the other areas in which fat is connected with or helpful with?
That's actually a multi-part question. And before we talk about those other benefits, we'd love to talk about some of the other, the types of unsaturated fat.
Okay.
So yeah, to kind of go off of that, Molly spoke about unsaturated fat, and this is the good fat that we want. Unsaturated fat is usually liquid and room temperature, and it usually comes from plant sources. Now, there's 2 types of these kind of fats. The first is monounsaturated fat, or MUFA for short. And it's really easy to incorporate these in your diet. Things like olive oil or avocados, nuts like almonds, or seeds like pumpkin and sesame are great additions if you want those MUFAs.
Yeah, MUFAs are very important. And then the second fat is actually polyunsaturated fats. That's the second good fat. So and you can also call it PUFAs. These types of fats you can find in certain types of oils, such as soybean or corn oil, or in walnuts, flax seeds, and even fish. We hear of the term omega-3 fats. Omega-3 is a polyunsaturated fat itself. So having both mono and polyunsaturated fats is really important since both fats have different benefits for our bodies.
So true. And so when we hear those nice examples of those monounsaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats, then we can address that question of what do they do then? Because now we know where they are found and what they do. Let's say benefits would be something simple as obvious physical signs. So if someone has good intake of these healthy fats, you'll be able to see their hair is being nice and shiny. Their skin is not so dry. You'll begin to see in their faces too that they're not so sunken. You'll see that it's a little bit more filled out and well. You can also notice that people who are constantly cold, if they add in a little bit of these healthy fats, they tend to feel a little bit warmer. It also provides cushion for our organs, something we don't even think about, but is really beneficial and important for our body to work well. Now, on the invisible side of the spectrum, let's talk about energy, something basic as that. It also helps with concentration. It also helps with decreasing mental fatigue. And it also helps with feeling full longer and lessens the chances of being irritable.
Yes, since you mentioned about feeling full longer and how fats benefit that, we should mention that fats actually help stabilize our blood sugars, and that's what makes our blood sugar spikes not stay spiked and smoothed over time.
Okay, so how does it do that? How do fats do that?
So fat actually takes the longest to digest compared to proteins and carbohydrates.
Correct.
Carbohydrates take about 1 to 2 hours to fully digest in our bodies, and then proteins about 2 to 3 hours, but fats take about 4 to 6 hours, which is why it stabilizes our blood sugars the longest and also keeps us feeling full longer.
All right. So then my next question to you is, then how does fat relate to vitamins?
That's actually a really good question because fat is required for the absorption of
Right.
fat-soluble vitamins.
Good.
And these include vitamin A, which plays a role in vision, vitamin D, which is important for calcium absorption, vitamin E, which is a powerful antioxidant, and vitamin K, which helps with blood clotting. So
Nailed
if
it.
you want these benefits, you're going to
Right.
need to consume fats.
There you go.
And speaking of benefits, there are times in life when these benefits become crucial necessities.
Oh,
so,
even, yes, so true.
Right. Take, for example, pregnancy. So, in pregnancy, fat is a huge contributor to the proper growth and development of a baby's brain. It's a really needed ingredient and factor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So during pregnancy, what kinds of fats are needed? How else does it benefit the whole pregnancy process?
Great question. So obviously any kind of unsaturated fat is good during pregnancy, but omega-3s are the ones that we really want to see added into that expecting mom's diet.
There you go.
So that plays a big role. The other benefits that you see from eating fat in pregnancy are breast milk quality. Eating more
Yes.
omega-3s and unsaturated fat increases the quality so that even when baby is born,
There you go.
you're making sure that they're still growing properly. They need quite a bit of fat in order to keep developing. That's a time of rapid growth.
Right, exactly. So true. And I see we just have like a minute more here during our discussion time. So when babies are born, and there are some mothers who are thinking, oh, fat isn't good for them, but they need a certain amount of fat even in the milk that they drink up until a certain age.
It's so true.
Yes.
and
So would it be full fat? Would it be like if they're drinking milk? Would it be full fat? Or the 2%?
Yeah, if they're not drinking breast milk once they've transitioned over to
Correct.
regular milk, we do recommend whole milk for the first year of life.
First year of life.
First year of life. But as far as breast milk goes, something that I forgot to mention earlier, like Evelyn was saying, vitamin absorption is a really big component
yes.
while babies are growing. And so
Correct.
it's important for mom to keep eating fat while she's breastfeeding so that when she also takes in vitamins, she can absorb vitamins,
go.
and so can baby.
Baby.
Yes.
So everybody benefits from it and needs it.
Absolutely.
Okay,
100%.
fantastic. 100%. All right, this was such a great explanation and discussion, ladies. But you know what? I'm going to give the ladies the time right now to just show us some recipes that are so tasty and so good for you. So I'm going to step aside and let you guys have the time, and you can bring me back in a little later.
Of course. We'll make sure you get a taste of all this food. So we're here now on the cooking part of this show. And let me tell you, this is our favorite part. Because no matter how much you know about nutrition facts, about benefits of a food item, if you can't put it into your diet realistically, what's the point? So we're going to be giving you some basic foundational recipes where you can tweak it whatever way you want. So if you want to add more of this, add more of that, that's totally fine. It's your recipe because you're the one eating it. So we're going to make 3 things. First of all, we're going to make an avocado dressing. Then we're going to make a wonderful, tasty granola. And then lastly, a delicious egg toast. And it's going to be amazing. So let's see, on my left, I'm going to need this blender. We're going to start with this avocado dressing. And then I'm gonna get that little board right there. This little board is all we need to make this delicious dressing. So right here, we have some basic ingredients. And for avocado dressing, it only makes sense that the first ingredient is avocado. So I'm gonna have Evelyn go ahead and just scoop these out,
Of course.
toss it into our blender over here.
And when we're talking about avocado, I do want to mention it's not just delicious. It's actually a MUFA, or a monounsaturated fat. And not just that, it's got a lot of great nutrients. So it's got folate, it's got vitamin E, C, B6, it's got potassium, it's got fiber. So as you can see, it's a very nutrient-dense ingredient.
So true. And the reason why we like to use avocado here is because it's very thick and rich, which works if you're a fan of thick dressings, but are leaning towards a different alternative, one that doesn't have extra unnecessary saturated fat, trans fat, or any extra cheese. It's just plain and simple, no work. So we'll dump that in here. I'm putting some cilantro too, just because there's this dressing that I like that's a thick cilantro dressing, and it has a hint of garlic. So I'm making this mimic that. But of course, you can do whatever you want on yours. So we'll put that in there. We'll go ahead and put half a clove of garlic. And then we're also gonna add some lemon juice if you don't mind. And then, of course, put how much salt you want. So we're just gonna put a little bit there. And then, of course, some black pepper. While I do this, you're also gonna need another source of great fats, and that's gonna be our olive oil.
So like we mentioned earlier, quick fact in there, a lot of oils that are liquid at room temperature are actually made up of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. So a source of that would be olive oil. Other examples could include safflower oil or peanut oil.
Perfect. So we're just gonna pour, thank you. We're gonna pour some in. Now you pour however much you want because it is really your recipe. If you want it thicker, that will probably be best with sandwiches and burgers. If you want it a little bit more thin, that can go for your salads, but it's up to you. We're gonna add a little bit of water in there too, right here, just to add some more liquid to it, and we'll put it right there on our blender. And then we're just gonna close it up, and we would say at home you can blend this for about 30 seconds to a minute. You can leave some cilantro chunks or garlic in there if that's what you want. So I have right here a wonderful finished product.
There you go.
And you can see how thick and rich it is. Very delicious. So I'm gonna leave it right here, and I'm gonna ask my fellow classmates to have a taste.
You don't have to ask me twice. Wow.
Thank you so much for that wonderful recipe, Letty Ann. How does it taste? Is it good?
It's creamy. It's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. Awesome. I cannot wait to make that at home. That looks great. So next we're gonna move on to a homemade granola. And granola is wonderful because you can add in a few different sources of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fat in there from the oil that we're gonna use and nuts and seeds. So today, I am going to start, let me grab my bowl over here. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have Evelyn start with half a cup of canola oil. Go ahead and pour that in there for me, Evelyn, thank you.
And now that we're on canola oil, I do want to mention, so a lot of times omega-3 is connected to fish, but there's also a lot of plant-based sources of omega-3, including canola oil. Some other options might be walnuts or soybean oil, so there's our ground flaxseed.
Flaxseed is a great, wonderful thing to talk about right now because in granola, many times people like to squeeze in some flaxseed in there. But for us to get the benefits of those good, healthy fats and oils from those flaxseed, we're gonna wanna buy them ground. We don't want the whole ones because we can't access them.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so we have about a half cup of oil in there, and great point on the flax seeds. Ground is definitely the way to go. So we've got our half cup of canola oil. Then if you don't mind passing me those oats right there, thank you so much. We're gonna add in 3 cups of oats. And so I am just actually going to give you the measurements for these first 2 ingredients, and then from there, it's up to you. This is a very dump and go kind of recipe, definitely my style. So we've got 3 cups of oatmeal. Just like that.
Ooh, I'm
little
ready.
extra there.
A little more is okay.
No worries on that one. And then from there, this is where it gets fun. So you can actually make either a sweet or a savory granola. If you want it to be savory, just leave out whatever sweetener I'm adding today, which would be honey in my case. So I am making a sweet granola, and you can use honey, you can use sugar, you can use whatever you like. I'm just gonna dump some in there because I don't like it too sweet. The original recipe called for about half a cup. If you wanted to stick to that, you do want to put a little bit so that your oats can stick together. After that, I'm going to add in some cinnamon because I just absolutely love the kick that it gives. And we're going to do about a teaspoon in there. After that, I'm gonna do a pinch of salt just because that enhances all of the flavors that I'm adding, and some dried cranberries. So Evelyn added in some canola oil for us, which was a great source of unsaturated fat. I'm gonna take that one step further and add some almonds. So almonds are a great source of unsaturated fat. You can also add in different nuts if you want, like walnuts, pecans, peanuts, cashews, anything like that. And we could also do different seeds. I'm not doing that today, but feel free to add in whatever you want, chia seeds, flax seeds, and just like Letty Ann said, make sure to keep those ground. So now that we have, oh, my spoon's over there. Now that we have all of this in the bowl, we're just gonna go ahead and give this a quick mix, and you wanna make sure that all of the oil is incorporated over those oats. That will help them to brown along with that honey that is in the oatmeal. All right, so now that that is all mixed up, I'm gonna grab my pan back here. Just gonna set this out here, and nice and easy, we are going to just dump all of that out. And we're just gonna spread that out. So again, remember, however much you wanna put in there, feel free. You can put as much cranberries, raisins, you can put as many nuts as you want, all up to you. So once that's all done and spread out on the pan, you're actually gonna go ahead and stick that into a 300-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. And this is what you should be looking for, nice, brown, a little bit sticky, a little bit solidified. So go ahead and try that, ladies. Tell me what you think. I like to eat this granola. If it's savory, I like to put it on top of salads. If it's sweet, I love putting it on my yogurt. I love to eat it with milk. One of my newest ways that I've found that I really enjoy it is to actually mix it with peanut butter and then put it on my oatmeal. So that's a really fun way to eat it.
It's really good.
Yeah, and peanut butter actually is has monounsaturated fat in it. If the oil you see on top of peanut butters in the jars, that's actually what you want to keep in there. So try avoiding pouring that out. You actually want to mix it in. That way we get that heart-healthy fat in addition to all the other ingredients.
Another also great way to do it is just to flip that jar upside down so that all those oils that would end up separating end up staying into that butter.
Yes,
That's a good trick.
good point, good point. So if you don't feel like having something sweet, another awesome recipe is our egg toast recipe, and this is a little more savory for those of you who like that kind of flavor. So this is something that we can do if you are in a rush or not in the morning, or for like a little bigger snack than usual. So obviously we're gonna start with some eggs. Eggs are a really good source of fat that people don't really realize. So Evelyn's gonna go ahead and crack the eggs for me. And notice how I'm not having her take out the yolks. The yolk is actually where all the nutrients are, and also contains mono and polyunsaturated fats. Thank you, Evelyn.
There you go. And a fun fact on eggs, actually, chickens are actually able to be fed a feed that's high in omega-3 so that their eggs become omega-3 enriched. If viewers are interested in these kind of eggs, they just kind of have to see the label on the egg carton.
Yeah, good point, Evelyn. So now I'm just whisking the eggs. We're gonna make a scramble for our egg toast. You can do over easy as well. I do that sometimes when I have a little less time in the morning than usual. But for that extra fluffiness, we definitely want to whisk very well. And Evelyn, can I have you go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of canola oil to our pan? Just so it doesn't have the eggs to stick. And then once those eggs are whisked, then we're gonna go ahead and pour the eggs in the pan, just making sure this is.
I'm already excited.
I can't wait to try this.
The whole time you're whisking, I'm thinking it needs to be in my bowl right now.
So I'm gonna just go ahead and pour the eggs in. And then as it's cooking, I'm just using a spatula or spoon to just keep it moving around. And then you're just gonna do that until it fully cooks through. And it should turn into a very fluffy egg for you. And then when you're done with the eggs, you're gonna let that cool aside. And we're gonna put our toppings on our toast. Because I like to put the toppings on before we put the eggs on, because the eggs weigh down the toppings so that they don't fall off.
Oh, that's so smart. Yeah, great idea.
I should start doing that.
So we have here for our Toppings, I have spinach and tomatoes. My little cherry tomatoes, I like to use those. But you can put whatever you like. This is my go-to. It's extra nutrients and a little extra flavor. And I like to use little whole grain bread for one piece of toast, or you can do 2 different ones if you have leftover eggs. So the finished product would look like this.
Wow.
Yeah, so you see how the eggs weigh it down, and then I just put a little salt and pepper on top, and that's your simple egg toast recipe.
That looks really
great.
good.
So colorful.
Thank you,
And I
guys.
think there's some salsa over there, so we can even top some of that on, can't
Yes, if you want a little extra kick, you could do salsa or hot sauce for an even more flavor. I like lots of flavor, obviously. Anything that works for you.
Great. Well,
great.
while we're trying this, why don't we invite Dr. Noval back?
You like some?
If you want to try some of our recipes, we have spoons for you, and let us know what you
Here's the
think.
granola.
This is so exciting. This is the best part.
Yeah, we have 3 things right here. Again, we did the
Okay, yes.
avocado dressing that was cilantro and garlic flavor. And
Okay.
then we have this nice cinnamon honey with
start with
cranberries and almonds.
Wow. You know, it gives it that umami feeling to it. Oh my goodness.
It makes a salad feel a little bit more
the whole
full. we want the meal to taste like, oh, you're indulging in something. And so that's a recipe definitely for the viewers that want a thick, savory dressing.
Okay.
But you can switch sides now to the granola I was
Oh, my.
describing earlier.
Boy, that's a winner right there for sure. I could eat it like yogurt.
I guess it's a yogurt recipe too.
Yum. Okay, so granola. I love granola. My favorite type of cereal.
I can hear the crunching.
That is something that you do want to listen for. Good granola
crunch.
always has a good crunch.
What I love about this particular granola is that when I buy them I love other stores, you know, but when they sell their brands or other granola, it's too sweet. This one, the sweetness is perfect. Excellent. Wow.
Good job, Molly.
Thank you.
That's the beauty of really taking control over your own recipes. You get to put how much you want.
Definitely.
Okay. So last but not least is the wonderful egg toast.
Egg toast.
Egg toast, yes. Okay. Well, I think you ladies should also try this too. You guys
You're
didn't
right.
try.
I've been waiting.
What are you all doing? Just watching.
For being too nice.
Being too polite.
Amazing.
Wow.
Just gonna grab some here.
I know
you
that
got the
when
for
it
it.
comes to like research, there's good and bad about eggs, but right now it's in the good, so we need to embrace that. Nothing to be fearful about. Great source of protein too, in addition to fats. So ladies, thank you so much. And we thank you so much for being there for us, watching. And yes, ladies, thank you for all your hard work. And I pray that God will bless you in all of your journeys in your academic career. I know you have like 2 quarters left after this one. It's going to go by fast. And so you all are going to make a very big difference, if not already, in the world in helping people out there become healthier through their food choices. And thank you again, everyone, for watching us today. And until next time, do take care, eat well in order to live well.